Welcome to Beyond the Boardroom with Ben Bobo, a well-known entrepreneur and trailblazer who has led startup organizations for more than 15 years. Beyond the Boardroom is the only streaming video show in Orange County that interviews thought leaders from all different industries and cultures about life lessons they wish they'd learned earlier in life, covering topics that weave together the fabric of life and career, bringing you recipes for success, shared pearls of wisdom, and key life lessons for business and personal growth. Now here is your host, Ben Bobo.
Hi, I'm Ben. Welcome to Beyond the Boardroom. I'm talking to you from California today with a very, very special guest, Bruce Feuchter. Bruce specializes with Stradling in corporate securities as well as corporate and general finance transactions. I know you work a lot with startup companies that are emerging growth companies, both in medical device and tech, and also on the venture capital side when they're, strategic side when they're looking, and venture capital when they're looking to either invest or acquire these companies. So, Bruce, welcome. A really a pleasure to have you here today.
Ben, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So, Bruce, when I look at your career and I've seen some of the transactions in 800 million range, 350 million range, you're putting some major deals together that really impact thousands, if not millions of lives. You're dealing it from you're coming at it from a attorney perspective, but in reality, the ability of those technology to hit the market has tremendous impacts on people. So I think most people that know you well, I know a lot of people do, you've had an incredible career with a huge amount of impact. But as we look at people successful like yourself, and as I think about it, you've had to have some personal hurdles that you've had to hit and face and deal with. So can you share with the audience maybe a couple of hurdles that you came up across in your career that you thought were just ginormous or just massive? And what did you do to get around those hurdles?
You adjust, right? Ben, when you look at the career, it's a long time. It's been almost 40 years as a lawyer, mostly in Orange County. I started out thinking I wanted to be a very certain thing. I wanted to be an attorney that was doing corporate work with emerging growth companies and be the guy that was with the executives, the CEO and the CFO. Those were my guys, and I was going to do that for a career. So I came to Orange County, having grown up in Sacramento, having gone to school in the Bay Area, because I thought Irvine Industrial Center had that formula. And so then I thought, okay, I'm going to Orange County. I interviewed a number of law firms all over the state, got offers throughout the state, had two in Orange County. One was a big firm, one was a small firm. Small firm is Stradling, the firm I'm in, and the other one was called Paul Hastings, Janofsky & Walker, still is. Mm-hmm. And so I took the big one. I blinked. And I didn't get to do what I imagined I wanted to do.
And why did you blink? So you're accomplished, you're smart. Was it a risk statement or?
I don't know if it was a risk statement. I think what it was is the big firm was one of the bigs in California, one of the big, call them 6 or 8 firms. They had, high profile. I was going to get to do bigger deals. Mm-hmm. Only I didn't. And the small firm was, when I interviewed him in 1978, 12 attorneys. A high risk, very high risk. Right. And so I blinked. I went to the big firm and I started in Orange County. That was okay, nice guys, I liked it. Didn't get to do what I wanted. Then I went to LA, commuting from Irvine every day.
Every day?
Every day. My. Tried the train, tried the car, tried the train and the car. It was terrible. 2 hours each way, roughly, in 1980s. And so what I do? I tried LA. I did even less of what I wanted to do. I did contract work. I did, threatening letters because the ball bearings weren't perfect.
Right.
So then I came over here. They let me come in. I was number 15 or 16. 2 of us came the same day. And right away I was doing, even though I was a very junior guy, I got to be part of a team that was doing small stage companies. And so you feel like a failure when you drop the big one and you go to the little one. Mm-hmm. But it was a good move on my part.
So it's interesting. You come to Stradling, and it's kind of a startup law firm in comparison to the big ones.
Yes.
And you're working with startup companies. And yet, and we'll talk about this in a bit, you've helped grow Stradling to a very, very impressive place
Thank you.
As a result of your great work. And what's interesting is you said you came from the Bay Area, and we all know in the Bay Area it's a massive ecosystem for startups. There's bankers, there's attorneys, there's money, there's Sand Hill Road, there's billions of dollars. And so it sounds like to heart, you're a startup guy, you'll take the risk. Mm-hmm. At a young age, you had to realize that it's not all about the big firms because you can have a bigger impact at Stradling, it sounds like. and you just never look back because if everybody knows about Stradling, you guys are the player in Orange County. I know you guys have offices all over. But let me ask you this: as you were trying to make that change, because change from a big firm to a small firm, there's some uncertainty, there's some risk, and you've got your reputation and what you're about, what you're building your career on. But did you stumble upon the answers of like, hey, I'm going to go to Stradling, or was it just forced on you because the drive and what I'm working on, suing people on ball bearings or threatening letters, just wasn't filling my purpose?
It's more interesting than that, of course. So I started at Paul Hastings, Orange County. By January 2nd of 1980, so that was 1979, by January 2nd, 1980, Bob Whalen came to Paul Hastings. He'd done a clerkship. Bob Whalen introduces me to Kurt Yeager, who's at Rattan and Tucker at the time. So the three couples get to know each other. In the early 1980 time frame, we start playing softball. May, June, July of 1980, Kurt Yeager joins Stradling from Rattan and Tucker. And so he, from that day forward, keeps saying, you got to come join. Don't do what you're doing. You hate it. I said, I know I hate it, but I think I can really figure it out.
Right.
But I never was doing what I wanted to do. So Kurt kept working me. I kept thinking about it. I moved March 18, 1981. So I've been in Fashion Island, Newport Center, since March 1981. If you can even imagine how lucky that is.
Let's see. L.A., Fashion Island, Newport Beach. That's what a gift.
Grow up in Sacramento, outskirts.
Yeah.
You know, it's Carmichael, really.
Right.
And then go off to Bay Area. You've heard of UC Berkeley, maybe.
Sure.
Did a little econ. UC Hastings, did a little law. UC Berkeley Business School, MBA. So I really was in the Bay Area quite a while. And I got job offers, big firms, San Francisco, my home in Sacramento, for a coincidence, Monterey, San Diego, West Side, downtown, Newport. Something's missing right there, isn't it?
Right.
Because back when I was graduating, what you thought of south of San Francisco was San Jose.
San Jose. Right.
And do you know the way to San Jose? Do you want to go to San Jose? The answer in my mind was no.
Right.
The real firms that were creating the ecosystem that now exists, they weren't really interviewing. They didn't pop up. You know, you look up San Jose and there was two firms. They were both estate planning and real estate.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to do those. So I had great offers and I ended up in Orange County.
Wow.
I'd never lived in Orange County. I'd visited. My grandparents were here for a few years, but it's been a great time. Orange County is really a lovely place to live. It has gotten expensive for others.
Yeah. So talk about the growth. So you came to Stradling. Talk to us about what the growth looked like when you joined forces with the other partners from that point to now.
From March of 81 till now. When I joined, what we were a small firm that had mostly corporate attorneys, which was what I was joining, a couple of litigators, and then we had the municipal finance piece, which has become really excellent municipal finance across the country. Number one number of deals in California. And there was I was number 15, and one guy later in the day joined me. I got here at 7:15, and he got here at 9, so I'm number 15. He's 16. He left within a few years. He took my secretary, got divorced, and got married to my secretary. And I got to do, at that time, all high tech. It was little teeny high tech companies, Micro 5, Data Power, just one after another. We had a small client that was an investment banker. And what did he do? He did mostly high-tech companies, and we got to represent them, so I got to do public offerings. Back then, you could do a lot more.
Right.
It was a lot smaller. It was not quite as involved and expensive. So I did one in 1982, and another one in 1982, and then a number of them in 83, one after another, either company side, and I got to be involved in that and really learned. I was the junior guy. By 1985, I had some of my own clients. Pretty young, very, very lucky.
Right.
I view it as lucky. It kind of just happened to me, I'm sure. And you meet a lot of people, and after a while, you keep meeting people, and one or two of them like you. And say, hey, I trust you. Instead of that senior guy that's 30 years older than I am, I trust you.
Right.
And so we just kept growing, and we grew at a pretty nice, steady rate through the 80s. Had a few downturns. You'll remember October 1987, stock went down 23% in one day. That was shocking. Wiped out 5 public offerings we were in the middle of. They were gone. And then in 2000, We had a number of public offerings going on, and the whole public market collapsed. 2008, I was just finished the SEC work, ready to go, call it a public company, and Lehman Brothers collapsed.
Yeah, I remember
That wiped out, that was 2008, that wiped out that public. So we always had things going on, probably more public offerings back then because they were smaller.
Right.
Now they're bigger.
Right.
You know, you do the
And
100,
fewer of them, but they're
120.
bigger.
Yeah. But they're terrific and got some great clients doing that. And so we continued to grow. The municipal finance department grew, and that's when they had the first other office in San Francisco. The corporate department continued to grow. Litigation was support. Now litigation truly is a partner.
Right.
And that makes it a more balanced law firm, which is terrific. I've encouraged that. I've been on the board a number of times. I'm on the board of the law firm of One of Five. I'm on the executive committee for the not public finance piece of the whole law firm. Really get a chance to influence where we're headed.
Which is huge.
Terrific.
And you are in the board of directors of Stradling.
Yes.
So as we go to break, before we go to break, we'll ask you a question. So part of the Beyond the Boardroom is we all know the boardroom has a board of directors. Our own personal life has a board of directors. So want to sort of delve into that more after this message from our sponsor.
35 million people in America suffer from migraine headaches once or twice a month. Historically, migraines have been diagnosed and treated subjectively with a hit-and-miss rate of success. Serenitex is leading the effort in precision migraine screening that gives you an objective diagnosis and guide to treatment. Do you suffer from tension headaches or chronic migraines? Could you benefit from the right medication for relief and get your life back to health? If so, then come volunteer to be part of this groundbreaking research study on migraine diagnostics. To participate, contact serenitex.com or call 949-538-5600, extension 107.
Welcome back. You know, Bruce, it sounds like a really interesting journey to take Stradling when you first joined to where it's at today.
Yeah.
But what compelled you to become an attorney?
You know, it's funny. I was in something called the National Ski Patrol from age 16 to 26, 1969 to 1979. And I had assumed, looking at my neighborhood, the only people that were kind of well off were doctors. I thought I was a doctor, you know, really great at science, really great at the sciences. And then I had an epiphany day, you know, those epiphany days. I was at a small place called Boreal Ridge, warm day, really crowded day. I got stuck in the patrol room for an hour. In that hour, they brought down 9 people that I had to take the wood off and put on cardboard wraps for broken legs. I had to do a backboard. We thought he had a broken back. That was all okay. But then I had 3 people in the bunk beds, and they were vomiting. And I all of a sudden realized, why would you ever be a doctor? You spend your life dealing with sick people.
Right.
I'm not going to do that. So I didn't all of a sudden say, I'm going to go be a lawyer. But then I realized I'm not going to be in medicine. I didn't have the foresight to say I could have been a surgeon, cut up bones and legs and arms.
Sure.
But I knew I didn't want to deal with sick people. And so as I became an economist, an undergraduate, I started realizing what I wanted to do was not be an operations person. I wanted to deal with the CEO, the CFO, so how do I do that? My dad ran a bowling company in Sacramento. And I didn't want to talk about bowling balls stuck in toilets. I didn't want to talk about people throwing up and all that. And so I came to the conclusion, I will be this corporate attorney that deals with these CEOs and CFOs. And so when I went to law school, I still had that thought. And then when I interviewed for jobs, I would tell people that. And they would look at me, well, that isn't that special. And so they made me offers anyway, but because I think I must have done pretty well in the classes and gotten good grades and all that. So I wanted to be that person. And I now look back after 39 and a half years, and that is that person. I am that person. I go to board meetings. They ask me, well, have you seen this? What has happened there? What do people think? What do you think? What's the law? What are other people doing? I am that guy. So lucky to say in 1977, 78, this is what I really think I want. And then to look back in 2019, and I actually achieved what I wanted.
So if I can stop you, that's interesting because most people go through a career trying to figure out what it is they want to do. And they could even be in corporate America still trying to figure out what is it I want to do, because whatever job they end up, maybe doesn't satisfy, maybe doesn't hit the heart note or whatever. And yet in 76, you had that vision somehow placed in your heart. And today it's just true to that purpose, which is a gift.
It's a complete gift.
Like maybe less than 1% in the world could say that's their story.
And so, did I know what it really looked like to be a lawyer? Of course not. I didn't know lawyers.
Sure.
By 1976, I'd met the company lawyer for my dad's company, so I got to know him a little bit. Worked for him for the summer, so I had a slight vision, but I still thought it was research. But I really had my vision. I got to create my vision.
Right.
You know, it's certainly different than I could have made more money if I only did big companies. But that's not what I wanted to do.
Right.
So I got to be what I wanted. And I look back and I say, I actually wanted a fun thing, which is nice, which is really nice.
Yeah, and you're in Newport Beach doing your dream job. So.
And we're sitting in my conference room looking out the window.
That's right.
If it wasn't raining so hard, you'd see the ocean.
That's right. Newport Back Harbor, Back Bay.
Yeah.
So as we talk about beyond the boardroom, we all know that there's a board of directors in our life, and there's people that have influenced along the way to help you get to this successful place. So as you think about your life, what would you say is the most influential person or persons on your personal board of directors that sort of shaped your worldview and where you're at today?
Well, it's not so much on my worldview, but on my career view, my work view, was probably Nick Yaka of Yaka, Stradling, Yaka, Carlson, and Routh. He was very important in Orange County, and I was, if you'll excuse the phrase, his boy. I really was. He'd walk into my office at 9:30 at night, and he'd say things like, "Oh, say, Bruce, you busy?" 9:30 at night. Well, of course I'm busy. But instead you say, "What do you have?" You'd throw something on your desk and walk away. And so he really created some of my beliefs in what it looks like to be a corporate attorney. He created those understandings. The other guys were influential, but Nick Yaka was the guy that really made it.
He was pivotal.
He was pivotal.
In your journey, your experience, and how you viewed
Yes.
the role of a corporate attorney. That's powerful. As you look at your career, and again, as the audience knows, one of my things as I looked at my career, there are things that were withheld from me, I feel, that had I known them 10 to 15 years earlier, I could have been that much more effective and that much more knowing about a job or a situation. Are there one or two things you could look at that you said, man, if I would have known these two things earlier, I could have been in a different place? I mean, you're at a high level, high place, but I'm sure in your gut you're saying, if I would have known a couple of things along those lines, maybe we would have had a different outcome.
Well, Ben, there are a couple of things, but the reality for me is, if I had known a few things I should go after bigger companies, I should just keep pursuing them, I'd make more money. But looking back, I realized that's not really what I wanted. What I really wanted is to be what I ended up being. So did I take a little longer than I could have? I don't know. Maybe not. Should I have been a little more aggressive? I've never been particularly aggressive. I kind of go with the flow. Yeah, I didn't believe that winning was everything as an attorney. As you know, some attorneys, no matter what, they have to win, which means the other side has to lose. Mine is, I'm a corporate attorney. Mine is, how do we get it right? How do we get this client selling their company and being satisfied, and the buyer equally satisfied?
Right.
Not like, wow, Bruce really pulled one on us. And so I think some people really lose sight of what they ought to be doing. They ought to have high ethics. They ought to really not try and win. They ought to try and get to the really right place. And you need to learn that early. People will get it. That's you. And at first they might say, well, he's not tough enough. He's not mean enough. He's not looking to win enough. To get to the right place really is long-term what people are going to want from their service provider, their person that they're going to rely on for everything.
So it's really taking the long view. You weren't driven by money as the end-all be-all. You're driven by doing the process in the right way, which really speaks to your character and what was important to you. Because it's funny, aggressive attorneys, if they go out of the lane of who they are and they sell themselves, if you will, for money, for a quick hit, for whatever, I think they end up long-term disillusioned and probably not as successful because people know what the game looks like once they've done a few deals. Whereas with you, it's very steady Eddie. We know what the product is. There's character. There's a lot of experience, a lot of insight that you bring. But it sounds like you were true to who your core was.
Try hard to be.
More importantly, you knew what that was, because in today's age, I think there's a lot of people that are still trying to figure out who they are and what they believe in. So that was instilled, sounds like, at an early age. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. Well, my children are millennials, and you've heard the phrase millennials. Yes. And we hear that right now, post-college, not high school jobs, post-college, they're likely to have on average 14 jobs in their career. So I had that 18 months at Paul Hastings, and the rest of my career has been here. Well, that's a little different, isn't it?
Right.
And so I wish for my children that they decide what they like and they do what they like. It's going to be a few jobs.
Sure.
But hopefully it's not 14. Because, the more you change, you can sometimes lever up and you can make more. But you want to find something you can turn into what you want it to be and own it and really make it you, not the other way around.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
So let's transition a little bit. Tell me something that you know to be true that nobody necessarily agrees with you on. Just in your experience, something that you know to be true, but not everybody necessarily agrees with you on.
Well, as a part of this is a professional corporation. So when we say the board, we mean traditional board. We have shareholders instead of partners. And so I have certain beliefs of how we ought to manage the law firm. And I have certain beliefs on how we ought to pay people. And I have certain beliefs on that you really have to have your practice be profitable. I honestly believe that if your practice isn't profitable, but it's big, why would I pay you a lot?
Right.
And other people struggle to believe that what I'm saying to them is sensible. They think, I've got a big practice and I should get paid a lot. Notwithstanding, I don't collect from that person, I don't bill that person, and I don't really care.
That's crazy. It's entitlement.
It's entitlement.
Right. Hard to run a business profitably and successfully long term.
It's very hard to run a business that way.
Right.
But over time, you influence people and you hope that they start listening.
Right. Absolutely. That's great. If you can go back and give yourself advice, what would it be?
That's a really, really good question. I guess it would be to be out just a little more than I was out, to work a little harder at getting more clients, because I would have had even more fun. But I was working so hard that I don't know if I would have listened.
Right.
I would have told myself that, and I might have told myself that. But you get home at 9 o'clock some nights, 10 o'clock other nights, 1 o'clock nights. You're pretty worn out.
You're pretty worn out, yeah.
If you get home after a certain hour, it's a beer, not a dinner. If you get home a later hour, it's a glass of wine. And if you get home really late, it's a quick scotch and go to bed.
Right.
And if you have too many of those, you may not listen to the advice. You just got to be out there more and get more clients and work harder.
Right. Absolutely. So where can the audience learn more about you? How can they find out more about you?
They can look at my webpage, the law firm webpage,
Okay.
and they can look at LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn, I'm not that heavy into, but
Right.
I'm not a social media guy, so it's all business. I don't have a personal social media presence.
So is it Stradling.com?
It is, I think it's Stradling.com.
Okay.
I don't actually look myself up much, as
Okay.
a matter of fact. And my name makes it easy to find me. You can just look up Bruce Feuchter on Google,
Right.
and then you can get to the web page, you can get to the LinkedIn, you can go down 5 pages of Google and you haven't found another
Right.
Bruce Feuchter.
Right.
You can go 20 pages and you won't find another. So I don't know how far you have to go.
You're an original.
Or I'm odd, one of the two.
Bruce, thanks so much for your time today. Really enjoyed the conversation. That's it from Beyond the Boardroom. I'm Ben Bobo. You can learn more about Bruce going to our Facebook page, Beyond the Boardroom Show. And until next time, remember, becoming is better than being.
When we founded Stradling in 1975, we made a commitment to helping our clients to succeed and create opportunities for business growth throughout California and beyond. Our people share cutting-edge focus in guiding the critical transactions and disputes of our clients. And we've developed a deep bench of contacts and resources to get the job done. As trusted advisors to technology, life science, software, and medical device companies, we've invested in building our expertise, developing the best of legal talent, and the readiness to serve the business community. From our commitment to our clients to our deep involvement in the communities we serve, we understand our job is your success.
This video was brought to you by 800 Cameraman, Southern California's only 20-time National Emmy Award-winning production company.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Beyond the Boardroom. We look forward to bringing you more thought-provoking episodes again real soon, and look forward to your feedback and remarks. If you have any particular topic or person you would like to have us cover or interview, please reach out to us at ben@beyondbobo.com. Till next time, may you continue to map your own path to success.